Well, they say that great things take time. I stand before you today, 21 months after I announced a request for proposal, 17 months after I announced we had entered negotiations with the respondent, Navy Hill District Corporation, and 9 months since we outlined an agreement in principle with NHDC to announce that we have finalized our negotiations on behalf of the residents of the city of Richmond to revitalize our city center and create a catalyst to increase funding for education, housing, transit, our streets, and many other core services. On Monday, August 5th, at a special meeting I requested earlier today, I will submit legislation and legal documents to the City of Richmond City Council to begin the formal public process to bring this project to life. Getting here today has required diligence, a little faith, commitment, and resolve, and not to mention countless hours of hard work to ensure this project reflects the values of our city and to ensure Richmond's taxpayers are protected. Though we had extensive and often trying negotiations, we did not waver from our commitment to make sure this project encompassed groundbreaking economic opportunities, including thousands of new jobs, an unprecedented level of commitment to affordable housing, new tax revenues for the city generated by a new hotel, arena, and additional commercial office space, and a new GRTZ transit center, all in a walkable and accessible neighborhood. This project will redevelop significant portions of the city's underutilized property downtown and turn valuable land that costs us money today into properties that generate revenue tomorrow. For 2.5 years, I've worked to build one Richmond, a city that is inclusive, equitable, and competitive. I believe inclusivity makes us more competitive, which is why it must also apply to our efforts to develop our economy. The ordinances I will deliver to the City Council on Monday propose a responsible and inclusive opportunity to grow our economy by creating a thriving city center and community through redevelopment of the historic neighborhood of Navy Hill. This project represents the largest economic development project in Richmond's history, and it also represents the largest economic empowerment project in our city's history. What we've been able to add since November are unprecedented protections for the city and our taxpayers, which makes this project a safe and responsible investment for Richmond. We've dotted the I's and crossed the T's and negotiated language in the ordinance to ensure that what we have agreed to will happen actually happens. Now the specifics of this historic agreement. If approved by City Council, based on the estimates provided by VCU Center on Urban and Regional Analysis, the Navy Hill redevelopment project will create an estimated 12,500 jobs during construction and more than 9,300 permanent jobs upon completion. But it's not enough to create jobs. We have to ensure that the community is aware of these opportunities and can easily access them. To do so, NHDC is partnering with the city's Office of Community Wealth Building to offer workforce training opportunities. They will host job fairs in each and every council district. So no matter where you live, the color of your skin, or what your background is, if you want to work in this city or on this project, we will provide you the path you need to connect to the opportunities created in Navy Hill. This project will also include $300 million in contracts for businesses that are owned by women and people of color. This will ensure that our talented minority-owned businesses are in the game and not sitting on the sidelines. We also want those who work in this neighborhood to be able to live in it as well. So, in addition to more than 2,000 market rate units, this project will also build hundreds of units of affordable housing. NHDC has committed to building 280 affordable housing units in the project's footprint. Additionally, a commitment of $10 million in local philanthropic support from the Community Foundation, Atlantic Union Bank, and others will be used to support building an estimated revitalized neighborhood. It will include a food hall, event space, and ballroom that will be utilized by the new hotel. In November, based on our negotiations at the time, I stated that the renovations to the Blues Armory would be financed alongside the arena. Today, I am pleased to say that even though the city will maintain ownership, the restoration of the Blues Armory will actually be financed with private investment. So, both the new arena and the Blues Armory will remain city assets, but operations will be managed by NHDC, and the risk of any operating shortfall will be solely their responsibility. It has always been my commitment that the taxpayers of Richmond would not be on the hook for this project under any circumstances. That's why when I laid out our RFP, I said that I would not consider using the city's limited debt capacity or leverage the city's moral or general obligation to finance any part of this deal. That is why, to finance the $235 million arena, which will be the largest in Virginia, we will issue non-recourse bonds, where the risk will be borne by the bondholders, not the city of Richmond. And will be paid back only with incremental tax revenue. Let me be clear. Only incremental revenues will go to the repayment of bonds. Additionally, we have negotiated a baseline start date of July 1, 2019, so that no revenues we are using to balance our budget today are diverted to the increment financing area. This will protect the revenues we used to make record investments in schools, roads, transit, and housing in this year's budget. Our agreement also requires that significant private investments are on track before the city moves forward with the sale of any bonds. So, before any construction begins on a new arena, NHDC must show that $900 million has been programmed to build a new hotel, affordable and market rate housing, as well as retail and office space. By guaranteeing significant private investments alongside the construction of the new arena, we ensure that the future tax revenues are there to support this project, and that we will be able to quickly begin to receive the surplus revenues that can benefit everyone in our city. Now, I know some of the folks have questioned the size of the increment financing area. But what many folks don't realize is currently 60% of that land is tax exempt. Let me repeat, 60% of that land does not generate any tax revenues for the city. For me, this just reinforces why it's our responsibility to ensure the land we do have is generating revenue that we can use to address our needs, and this increment financing plan is simply the safest way to fund this project without utilizing city debt capacity or the moral and general obligation of the city. Our financial advisors estimate that this project can create more than $1 billion in surplus revenues to the city over the course of 30 years. I'll repeat that. More than $1 billion in surplus revenues to fund priorities like schools, roads, affordable housing, public transit, police, fire stations, and other essential services. And these surplus revenues will begin coming to the city as soon as the construction period is complete. Many of you will also remember that last November, when I pledged that these surplus revenues would be committed to our priorities. With over $1 billion coming back to the city, my commitment to direct 50% of the surplus to schools will mean over $500 million over 30 years. Directing 15% to housing opportunities will generate $150 million, which can be leveraged to create hundreds, if not thousands, of affordable housing opportunities across the city, as well as fund services for the homeless, for homelessness and housing insecure. 1%, or $10 million, will go to our public arts fund. The remainder, nearly $350 million, will be available for investing in our neighborhoods and city services. I'd also like to add that not only will this project not hurt our future debt capacity, it will actually increase it, adding over $50 million to our cumulative debt capacity over the course of 30 years. Folks, our choices are few and simple. We only have 4 options to find the dollars we need to fund our priorities in this city. We can cut services, which nobody wants to do. People don't grab me and ask me to cut services. They ask me for more services. We can push for more state dollars, which we will continue to do. We can raise more revenues from our existing tax base, or we can grow our economy and bring in more dollars from the new businesses, new residents, and new visitors. I believe it's our responsibility to choose that 4th option whenever we can do it in a responsible way. That means we have to make safe and strategic investments in ourselves and find ways to grow the pie so we're just not fighting over crumbs. Today is the beginning of that opportunity. Now, I would be remiss if I did not thank our city administration, under the leadership of my Chief Administrative Officer, Selena Cuffey-Glenn, and the City Attorney, Alan Jackson, for their diligence and effort on behalf of the residents of the great city of Richmond. More than any other project in our city's history, the expertise of our directors and staff has been at the forefront of every aspect of this negotiation. And they have worked tirelessly to comb through each and every detail to ensure that this project works for all of our residents. Now that we have dotted the I's and crossed the T's, I can say without reservation that I'm proud of what we've negotiated on behalf of this city. We took a good project for the city and turned it into a great project for all the people of Richmond. Now is the time for the public to see for themselves how this will benefit all Richmonders, and for the members of the City Council to begin their review. I fully support City Council taking the time it needs to review this project, and my administration will be available to provide support and assistance. I also encourage the public to engage and ask questions of the developer, which is ready and excited to share the details of this great project. Everyone will have a chance to kick the tires, just as we've had, which is why, upon introduction of the ordinances on Monday, both the original proposal, the request for clarifications document, and the ordinances themselves will be posted on the city's website and accessible to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I am excited about embarking on this process and what we can accomplish as a city together. To that end, I'd like to recognize some people who have joined us today who understand the community benefits that this development will bring to our city. Cheryl Adams, interim CEO of GRTC, Jack Berry, the CEO of Richmond Region Tourism, and leadership from the Better Housing Coalition. I also want to recognize the members of the NHDC board who are here with us today as well. Tom Farrell, Melody Barnes, C.T. Hill, Bill Goodwin, and Dr. Pamela Royal for their faith in our ability as a city to grow and to thrive in an inclusive and equitable way. Their commitment underscores the belief that I think we all share, that Richmond is a city on the rise. I love this city, and there's no place I'd rather be in the Commonwealth of Virginia or in this country than right here, right now. 2.5 years ago, I committed to working for you, fighting for you, and building one Richmond, a city that works for all of our residents. To be sure, we still have work ahead of us to become the city we want to be. But every day we are making progress, and we are well on our way to becoming more inclusive, equitable, and competitive in providing our residents with the opportunities and high quality of life that they all deserve. This project is an opportunity to take another very big step in the right direction, one I believe can have a positive and transformative impact on Richmonders today, tomorrow, and years to come. Again, thank you for your time and your patience while we worked to deliver a project that creates opportunity and protects the best interests of this city. Now it's up to all of us to work together to take the next steps and make it happen. Thank you.
All right, we have time for a few questions.
Okay.
You said that surplus revenue will start coming into the city once the construction period ends.
Yes.
When does the construction period end?
Well, roughly 5 years.
So starting in 2024? Or
Matters what time we get started, but roughly 5 years.
so until that point, the city will not reap any of that $1 billion over a 30-year period? Is that correct?
Yeah, the surplus revenue is roughly 5 years.
Does this plan still, as previously envisioned, rely on the state to allow the city to keep a greater percentage of the sales tax in the?
That's not in this plan. Nope.
Mayor, with such a large arena, do you hope to attract a sports team here?
That's not in this plan.
Is there a, in terms of the size of the area you'll draw real estate tax from, is still the total 8-block area, including the Union Towers?
It's roughly that size, and those plans will be available to you guys on Monday.
How will this affect the city's bond rating?
Actually, when I've been to Wall Street, sat down with S&P, Moody's, and Fitch, they're excited about this project. This could take us to the next level.
What about the TIF financing referendum? How are you all going to work around that, or what do you have an opinion on it?
I mean, this project's moving forward either way, and I don't have time to worry about political stunts. I got time to worry about Richmonders, and that's what this project's all about.
One of the things that comes up in state law, I was wondering if you could explain, how do you get around the rule that if you're not using real estate taxes, ad valorem taxes, for a TIF financing out of it, is the new, because you're using only incremental growth, that you get around that provision of state law?
I don't want to speak to the legal side of things, but David, you want to?
I can't speak to the legal side either, but we're only using any incremental revenues, Jeremy. It's not touching the existing base. Well, real estate.
Not from sales tax or parking or whatever?
Yeah, not from sales. Nope.
Mark?
On social services, the original plan submitted by NH contemplated building on that block where Marshall Plaza currently stands. Is that no longer the case?
That's not going to happen right now. They have to find us a suitable home before we move anything from the current parcel that is Marshall Plaza.
And would they be responsible for the relocation costs in addition to finding that?
We would obviously have to work that out, but they would be responsible for finding the location, and we'll work out the costs at that time.
We'll take two more questions. Sorry, what would be a suitable location in your mind?
I mean, we got to obviously evaluate options. Any place that is accessible for all Richmonders is what I care about. Okay?
Last question.
One more?
Have the courts weighed in on whether or not the judges indicated that they'll be okay with taking the parking lot north of the courts building?
I've not heard. We've had conversations with the judges. Actually, I talked to Judge Taylor before coming down here about us moving forward with the project.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Great job, Madam CEO. That worked you. Great job.
Madam CEO.
Great job, Jim.
Always want a hug from you. Matt, good job.